yes. I must ask of you. Today we march. It is time for the rebuilding of the Union. This is an English translation on Fox News after the collapse of Russia and the Ukraine. With this we shall march against our enemies and destroy the capitalist heathens. These infidels will fall to the wrath of the commune. Okay, with the intro now done, let's go. Hurrah! Now the faction I showed you is just the communists. There are there are a bunch of communist factions in Siberia. The Far Eastern Republic, the Urals are also communist. The Freedom of Russia region controls this area. Leningrad is it's also communist, so there are lots of communists. This is actually the Ural communists. After this, the post-Taras collapse has ended. Russia is in an absolutely destructive state. The new Cossack, let's start with the Ural communists. As with the speech from Ariel, they're going to invade the Central Siberian corporatocracy. They're a corporate state. The Central Siberian corporatocracy loses ground in the first few seconds as Advent will power, but the Wagner group does help them with it being really the only military they have. With massive encirclements, troops quickly go out. And that's a massive series of conquests began. In the north, even the corporations, however, do last for aid. The aid arrives from the Perm-Commie Republic. They quickly march over the Urals to the Ural communist clique. With reinforcements, the Siberian corporate state, or by this point one known as the Corporate Federation, is able to strike back. The Ural Commune, however, does not really surrender, and it does fight back. The Ural Commune is quickly able to retake a lot of land as the mass retreat are gone. The Perm area does not really have a lot of population, and the corporatocracy doesn't really have a lot of value and not a lot of support. So yeah, the mercenaries are really the corporatocracy is dependent on mercenaries and the more or less investors in Western groups and Americans even fell. The Ural communists are quickly able to take over the North Siberian territories, which were starving, and quickly Komi fell. The fall of Komi, this offensive also was during the winter, which was really hard to invade, but also really good because of the lack of food in the region. And by this point, had no food. So the Ural communists are quickly able to take over this territory. And workers' unions quickly started becoming pro there. Then, meanwhile, the more pro-Cynic party invaded Buryatia. This would be joined by the Chinese, who would invade Mongolia. Both states would follow relatively easily, causing an occupation period in both states. And some aid was provided to the Ural commune, causing the corporatocracy would quickly fall, and causing it to surrender, its leaders would flee into the other corporatocracy in the Union, in Russia. Of course, Novgorod. And by this point, the Ural commune had become the strongest one, and the return of the Soviet Union was near. However, another series of war would start after the corporate state of Novgorod invaded the free city of Leningrad, ending in a massive victory for the commune for the corporatists. It actually started out as a republic, but slowly developed, but it quickly developed into a corporatocracy. They would now start an invasion of the freedom of Russia's region's Second Russian Republic. The Russians are able to strike back, and they quickly started taking over Novgorod. After that, a huge encirclement is pulled off here and there. Tatarstan decides to invade everyone that is weaker to them, to clean up the region. Orenburg was first, then followed Mariel and the other Uralic peoples of the region, and even a bit of Russians. With They quickly got annexed under Tatars. After Russia had quickly centralized its power, the Ural Commune would be against the Freedom of Russia Legion. Eventually, both sides would agree that the debt was forgiven, leading to the first ever joint restoration of the nation state of the Ukrainian nation. Lukashenko agreed to this because Lukashenko still doesn't but however this did also force them to give up a large chunk of land. And the Cossack Republic would be split between Ukraine and the Don Volga Cossacks. Now we'll move down to the Middle East because of course the Middle East. The Islamic State has a huge vat of resistance. With about 10 years in the state, a massive problem on the rise. In Iraq, Republicans would rise up, and pan-Islamists would rise up in northern Syria and the Rojava. The Islamic State falls. Just falls. There is no more detention camp they can escape from. They quickly rejoined Jordan, forcing them to restart the Caliphate, causing the re-establishment of the Caliphate under Jordan. Turkey also during this period starts a massive invasion of the Alawite coast and the Rojava Republic. With barely any resistance, they are able to crush them. And during this period of instability, the West African Federation does form. South Sudan is unwilling to join. Kenya and Uganda are the first to join, and quickly followed by Azania and Rwanda. Meanwhile, Somalia, which is currently in anarchy, would get invaded by the West African Federation. But that's really because they actually do want to join the Federation. Because they actually do want to join the Federation. But however, two states are quickly able to break off internationally, even though I think the UN has dissolved. Yeah, the UN has dissolved due to one security member being a gang. With the Russian collapse, a period of stability does come. However, this might be stopped. And goodbye and see you in the next episode.